everyone. Today I wanted to show you guys a new motherboard for the Parrot Bebop. This one cost me about $40, and it's nice because it came with the fan and the sensors, and basically
so at least what I could do is I could voice over it. So basically I'm just gonna show you guys how to take this motherboard out and swap it for a new one. I got it on Amazon, I think, for like $40, and it came with a lot of stuff, the fan, the sensor in the bottom, so that's a pretty good deal. This is me unplugging the motors. And this is I'm trying to remove the bottom shield. I try to take it apart without taking as much stuff apart as possible, but it's actually a lot easier if you actually do take that bottom shield off. I'll have to do that later anyway, so I'm going to save myself a lot of trouble here. So down here you have your other two motors that are connected to the back, and you also have your radio control antennas. And you just pop those out too. Just do it really carefully. are still the motors. They're stuck in pretty good. Normally, if one of your motors on your Bebop stops working, it's usually one of these things that comes loose. Surprisingly, these ones are stuck in there really well. There she is. You'll have to remove the little stands because the new motherboard, you need to put them in the new motherboard. They're not really tight in there. That's they have some thread lock already on them, but they're pretty easy to remove. Yeah, remember not to tighten all this stuff up too much. Just put it in there pretty snug. I usually like to put the stuff back to the, like say if these were for the front, I like to put them back on the front end. But on these ones, I put them on backwards, but I don't think it mattered. And I think one of these were bent, and I straightened it out, but it might have been in a different video. After recording this video, I was pretty disappointed about the audio, that it took me forever just to kind of redo it and decide to put it back online. And I figured maybe I could just dub the voice a little bit over it. So that motherboard came just like that. Had everything already attached to it. I'll have to transfer the camera over and some little things like that, but it wasn't that hard. That's where the camera's plugged into the motherboard. I think that's the camera. Oh no, that's the GPS. Because the camera has like a ribbon right underneath it. It's kind of a pain in the butt trying to put it back in, but it's not really difficult. You just gotta be careful. This mount for the camera and the GPS has different little star screws. and they're really difficult to get off if you don't have the right ones. I was just using a regular screwdriver here. There was one that was pretty tight. I think it's down right there. Yeah. I happened to end up going to Walmart just to see if they had that tool, and I got lucky and because they did have it there. And with that tool, it is so easy to remove it with. See, I was trying these other little bits that I have here at the house, but none of them really worked. And I tried to do the pliers, grab by the edge and twist it, and that was really tight in there. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Nope. For being all plastic, that thing is stuck in there really well. I'm trying everything, nothing seems to work. You know, the funny thing about this is that that little bit set that I went to buy at Walmart cost me like $4. Could have saved me all this time. Giving up yet? I think you did. Well, you took it off. Good job. There you go. See that ribbon that's in the front? That's the only thing that's connected the camera to the motherboard. So when you put it back together, try to keep the wires in the same place where the other ones were. And then stick that ribbon right in the front there for your camera. That battery, that cover that I just took off right there is just all paper. That's what messed up the motherboard to begin with. When the battery hit the motherboard and it took some of the transistors off. I eventually ended up losing one. That's why I just ended up getting a different motherboard. Right here I'm trying to figure out how to stick that rubber silicone piece of the battery back into the camera mount. And what that does is just basically keep you from pulling the wires off the motherboard when you're switching the battery. And there's the camera connector again. It's plugged in and it's held by that screw that's right there in the corner. It holds the mount and it holds the that connection together. And you can't see it. You just basically just slip it right on top, kind of like a micro USB plug, but a lot thinner. I thought I lost one of those tiny screws when I was putting it back together. Not for this, for the cover, and it ended up being underneath the cover itself because that paper's got like a sticky bottom and it just stuck to it. I found it later on. And that's pretty much it. You just plug in, or you take the two screws and put them back in there, and plug in your GPS. I bought some props for this Bebop on Amazon, I think it was, or on eBay. I can't remember, but they look the same and they're pretty close to fitting, but for some reason, like the top of it's a little thicker, so I have trouble getting them in there. So it's either I have to sand the top of the propeller right where the bolts are, because I can stick it in fine, I just can't twist it to lock it in place. Here, I just plug back the GPS. Carefully put that cover back on. You gotta be careful with all this stuff. It's all plastic. Right there on the corners where the little holes are, it's red. Those are so easy to break. I must have dropped a screw. And just make sure it wasn't in the fan. See, I should have taken this plate off in the beginning. It would have just made everything so much simpler. push in the motors connections in there. And you push in the antennas for the remote. Just make sure those things are nice and snug, they won't come loose. After you put all that stuff together, then you put your little lock screws back on. And you can get them back on there. I'm not tightening this very much either. Just leave it a little snug. Brand new sensor, brand new fan, got a brand new drone here. Little screws, man. Just snug these up too.
Never came undone again.
Oh yeah, you got a new strap with the new board. The thing is, at the very edges, they come apart like that. On the other one, what I did is I just added a little strip of super glue, and that pretty much fixed it. This one seems to still be a little sticky. It might hold itself together. Not just in case. A little strip of super glue in here. That holds it together really well. Separation right there. Just glue it now. I still have to change that plug-in for the batteries for the new one, but I can do that later. And that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped somebody out there that needed to replace her motherboard. And good luck. Bye.